braking systems, cooling fans. Only Airbus at the moment and some other smaller airlines have these brake cooling fans. I haven't seen them on Boeing aircraft. Anyone seen them on Boeing yet? They're an Airbus thing. And according to my friend yesterday, he said that these brake cooling fans activate at a certain temperature, but he couldn't tell me what temperature it was. That's okay. When there must be a temperature that some engineer has set, when it's all set, maybe the pilot would know. Although I've had many discussions with pilots about these sorts of things, and some of them don't know. That's okay. They just have warning lights that tell them things. So if we get a situation where we have a hot brakes situation, I'm guessing that these fans would activate at a certain temperature, and they actually draw out, they don't suck in, they draw out the heat from the brakes. You know when an aircraft lands and brakes, well, first of all, it lands, before it lands, it uses flaps to slow the aircraft down from over 800 kilometres an hour, 900 kilometres an hour, some over 1,000, right up high. And it's gradually slowing down, uses flaps, puts the nose up a little bit, and so it slows down to kind of a more manageable speed. Before it lands at the airport, we have some a lot more slowing down through the flaps, etc., etc. When it lands, the spoilers, the air brakes, so activate in most cases. The engine reverse thrusters activate, and of course the pilot can brake as well. Some of the smaller airfields that I've been to, with ATRs in particular and Dash 8s, they don't even use the brakes. They don't use the brakes. The propellers slow them up enough, or the spoilers, whatever they're using, it slows them up enough to kind of just roll through and then no worries. If you have a situation where an aircraft's coming in and it's got a problem with the engine, and you know that A350 yesterday could fly with one engine, just one engine. Well, the engine doesn't just provide thrust, it also provides reverse thrust. And I've been to situations where an aircraft has come in with either engine problems, it's shut down the engine, and it's just flying on one engine, or it has some flap problems. It can't fully deploy the flaps, so it's coming in fast, right? So if it's coming in fast, or if there's an engine that's not working properly, it's going to come in fast. So what's the pilot going to use more of to slow the aircraft? It's going to use more brakes. Yeah? So let's put it this way. If you had a local standby where there was an issue with flaps on the aircraft, or maybe the engine, or one of the engines wasn't working, I wouldn't stay here at the station. I would actually look where it's coming in, if it's coming in on 27, and then go to your standby points. And kind of, you wouldn't all be at the one standby point. If it's going to come in fast, you know that it's going to probably land long, yeah? It's going to go long. So I would hedge my bets, and I would absolutely be more up that end of the runway than I would back this end. You kind of hedge your bets in that way. Remember, aircraft land into the wind, and you never want to be chasing an aircraft down the runway, because if you are, you're downwind, and you always want to come from an upwind position. Who's been to hot brakes here? Anyone been to a hot brakes incident? Yep. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, it's Ecorin.
What was it? Ecorin. And what type of aircraft, do you remember?
A380.
And what happened? It was a bird strike.
Past the intersection in
Right.
hot brakes.
So, did you see smoke coming off the brakes?
No, was really different. It's metal cooling.
Okay, so did he declare that he had hot brakes?
We got strike, but response we did hot brakes.
Inspection.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was an Airbus?
A380.
Yeah, okay.
Satya sort of
Alright, good. Anyone else been to a hot brakes? You know the brakes, right, when they brake, the temperature goes up. So the brake pads are aligned, in most cases. If I look at a cross section, they're kind of like this. You've got these, okay, from the wheel. And the heat is transferred through each one of these different types of material, slightly different thicknesses as well. So the it's designed to heat up, and it's designed then to be dissipated. When an aircraft has hot brakes, you rarely see the aircraft stop, because what's going to happen if they stop? This is going to continue to heat up. So what the aircraft will try to do is, if it's certainly a long taxiway back to the gate, they'll just taxi back to the gate. Aircraft have hot brakes all the time. Most times you won't even know about it, right? The pilot's not going to say, oh, I've got a hot brake indicator, please respond the Arffs and blah, blah, blah. No, they don't want that. And they don't want that. The airline doesn't want that negative publicity either. Qantas used to hate us following them. A fire truck following a Qantas aircraft. Well, there's something wrong with the aircraft, you know. They hate it. They request us not to follow them, actually. So the long taxi back to the gate hopefully gives that sort of natural cooling. But then the engineer might come out, depending on what's happening, and the pilot will inspect. If there's no smoke coming off it, or even if there's a little bit of wispy sort of, hot stuff coming off it, they might get a positive pressure ventilation fan, and then use that to assist with the cooling. Incident types, we have overheated brakes, as I just said, wheel fires, maybe as a result of an overheated brake, or a tyre failure can cause a wheel fire. A tyre fire, of course, the wheel being the rim, and the hydraulics failure, which can cause massive problems with braking, and also hydraulic liquid leaking out onto hot brakes can cause a fire. Will certainly cause that wispy sort of white sort of grey smoke coming off, and then undercarriage collapse. We've seen this one. Do you want to see it again, or yes, you do? Okay.
In that list,
So
in that list, this prolonged taxi.
Prolonged taxiing.
Can it be
What do you mean by that?
many times we see the aircraft is taxiing for a very long distance.
Yep.
Can that
Can that be
cause
an incident type? Why would that be a hazard for the braking? Or
when the aircraft is taxiing, we see it has built up all the energy or the power and it wants to take off. But we are just holding on to it. Captain is holding on to it.
on the brakes, you mean?
Brakes.
I see what you mean. I think that would that potentially cause a overheated brake situation? I'm not sure, guys. I've never heard of that causing an overheated brake situation. It could cause, I don't know. That's a good one for somebody to research. Yeah. Have you had an incident there where they're waiting to be given clearance, particularly maybe a light aircraft or something, and that's caused an issue with the brakes? Does anyone know of any incident like that? I'm not sure, so it's a good one to probably ask a pilot about if that's an issue to be held at a certain point for a long time. I guess there's different types of brakes. They have the normal brake and then the park brake as well. Alright, we want to see this again, yeah? I've got another really good video coming up that you haven't seen. What's this? Volume up, volume down? Is there a volume here?
No.
Oh shit, sorry.
There is no volume,
Here it goes.
but I can comment it.
Slow. There you go. You can can see it. So what the pilot's doing is going to land long. He's not just going to slam the brakes on, because that's going to force the nose wheel down and potentially collapse on. It's amazing it didn't collapse. He's going to keep the nose up for as long as possible. Eventually that nose is coming down, right? Remember, we've got potential magnesium alloys in here. Certainly aluminium, but and we've got hydraulics, we've got the oleo you can see there. And it's making a bit of a mess on that runway. The runway after this is unserviceable, so it's got to be repaired. And it's amazing how he lands it right there on the centre line. Keeps it right on the centre line. Good pilot. Now let's look at their positioning. If this was you, Commander, commanders, commanders, where would you position? What would you do and why? What is this? What would you do and why? So everybody's still on the aircraft. You've just seen this come in, sparks flying down the runway everywhere, and this thing stopped. The nose wheel's still intact. You're turned out in your standby position, because you know it's coming in. What's the first thing you're going to do after leaving your standby position?
Position right in front of the cockpit.
Right before that, en route. Would you like to know what the pilot's intentions are?
Yes.
Because maybe we're just going to put the truck right where the slide's going to come out or something, or who knows. So we probably want to make. Does the pilot know if there's a fire? Can he see if there's a fire? Would he maybe assume? Gee, mate, there's probably a fire here. Would he assume that? So would we want to make contact with the pilot pretty quickly? Absolutely. Because you're his eyes and his eyes with this. So I would request permission through ATC to talk to the pilot. Great. Yep, pilot here. Pilot, this is Arff command. We're en route. At this stage, we cannot see any fire. We're going to position on your nose. Can you tell us what are your intentions, please? Well, you might say we're going to evacuate. Which side should we evacuate? He doesn't know what's going on. He might say we're going to evacuate. He might say we're going to stay here until just give us a sit rep. He's not going to say that. Just let us know what's happening. As soon as you get there, could you let us know what's happening? In this case, I certainly wouldn't be parking or putting your personnel anywhere near underneath that aircraft or anywhere near the wings, because the chance of that collapsing is going to be pretty high. It's under a lot of stress there. So where would you position? So you're from here, aren't you? You've got 3 trucks. You got 3 trucks. Where are you going to position? Right in front of the cockpit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stand by with one length of loose.
One length. Okay. Okay. Any other differences to yourself? What would you do? Is there anything different?
So I don't see I think my positioning will depend on, because I don't see whether the wind attachment
Well, we assume that he's landing into the wind, yeah? Because that's what they do, I guess, most times. So the wind's coming this way.
These people are typically on the
This is a whiteboard, yeah? So,
please sign my vehicle will come there for my command.
this, over here?
Please.
Here?
Yeah.
So here's his little Flintstone car. And here he is, big happy smile on his face. Command vehicle, yeah? And where's your truck?
This to the
Over here or here?
no here this side.
This side?
Yeah.
And here? Here?
First vehicle yeah.
Here? Sorry about my drawing, guys. Certainly not an artist. Okay? And you've got another truck, where's that going? Let's just take it, we've got two trucks just for Nausori, okay? Where's your other truck going?
Yeah.
On the other side?
Yes.
Sorry, bring it back a little bit.
First vehicle is to cover the undercarriage in case of any fire, then I can help.
Yep.
And also assist in the safety suits if they are
Okay, and you said you get one line, one line,
and
one length,
delivery of 2 legs.
2 legs. And where's that coming off? This truck or this truck?
First truck.
This one? This side or the other side? Other side? Like this. Something like that?
Yes.
Okay, any lines on the other side?
Yes.
Same again?
1 or 2 legs.
Something like that? So we've got 1 line, 2 lengths here, 1 line, 2 lengths there. Our IC over here. Anything else that you might need or want or do? You're just waiting, there's no fire. There's probably some pretty hot, wispy stuff coming off this. And we're just, what are we doing? We're making, if there was fire, then we're going to smash it, yeah? Would you put any water on this to cool it down a bit? What would that do?
Explosion.
And you'd make the whole situation a lot worse. As this collapses and people are maybe coming off the slides, next minute this slide here that's coming out, you know, goes right up high and people, you know, this is the thing when, you know, you have a collapsed undercarriage and all of a sudden this goes up like this and this exit then becomes unusable or certainly have a lot of injuries coming off this area. Alright, so now we just wait. We're in contact with the pilot now. What are we going to say to the pilot? Yeah.
Should be says we have one DCP.
DCP.
Standby stuff.
Good. Okay, where are we going to have? Oh, the DCP line.
The DCP line will
Thank you. Who, honestly, thank you. Who didn't know, and it's okay, we're all big boys in here, right? Who didn't know that that was in your SOP? Put your hand up.
Who did not?
Hey?
Who did not?
Who did not know? Who didn't know that was in your SOP? You all knew, yeah? Well, how come you didn't say it to begin with? DCP, of course. We're going to talk about DCP for undercarriage incidents. It's a must. It's a must. You put water on this. You put water on hot brakes. Going to make the whole situation a lot worse. So where's the DCP line coming off and where's it going to go? Let's say from this truck, on this side,
Left side.
the left side again.
Left side, yes, the DCP line.
That's the one.
Okay, so let's pull it out. I know it's up the front a bit more, but we don't want cross hoses, so let's just pull it out, and we're just going to stand by here, not under here. Never under the aircraft in this case. Okay, so Commander, what are you doing now? So you're here. You're standing probably somewhere here, so the pilot can see you. You've got the radio here, and what are you going to do? We're all just waiting. There's no fire, no smoke. Just wait here. What are you going to do? Remember the pilot said to you, he doesn't know what's going on. Should we evacuate? Should we not evacuate? What's going on? If there's a fire, should he evacuate? If there's a fire on this undercarriage, should they evacuate the aircraft if there's a fire?
Yes.
Absolutely. Will he make that decision or you?
He
He will. Does he know if there's a fire?
No.
He does not. Do you know if there's a fire?
Yes.
Yes. So what do we need to say to him? Sir, after my, blah blah, what is it? Fiji Airways pilot, this is Arff command. We are in our positions. There is no sign of fire. We will be remaining here to ensure protection of the area. And that's it. I mean, what can we do there? So then he will make a decision, and probably, like what happened in this case, they got a set of stairs, and some buses, and they got people off open the doors, got down the stairs, nice and orderly, onto the buses, and see you later. Then they actually towed this aircraft. They got a tow, and they towed it back to the gate. And of course shut the runway because it's got debris and all sorts of, probably a hole, a gouge in it and all the rest of it. So it was all very precautionary. But in a different scenario, if that was on fire, if all of a sudden we started getting smoke, all of a sudden really starting to billow, and then now we've got fire, then you need to tell him the change condition. And we have fire on the nose wheel. And what would you do at that case? In this case, what would you hit it with? Probably I'd go to DCP, to be honest. I probably would. If it's, you wouldn't get in trouble if you just went with both of these, right? You would not get in trouble if it's both of these, or you just went, you know what? This is an aircraft. There's 200 people on this aircraft. You know what? Let's go, guys. Let's smash this. Let's take a big bite out of it. Make sure it just doesn't get away from us. Right? So that's your decision. There's no right or wrong decision there. It depends on if it's quicker. If it's quicker to get a DCP and it works, great. If it's quicker to have a firefighter with you don't do that. A firefighter with a DCP, not this size, a 9 kilo DCP extinguisher, and just run up and go and put the damn thing out. If it's quicker to do that, no worries. If that doesn't work, firefighter runs out of the way, smash it, and you will smash it, no doubt about it. So there's no. I'm not going to say, hey, you've got to do this, this, and this. It depends on the situation. But take a big bite out of it, as I said, my boss used to say.
In
Yes.
this case, we also need to confirm with the pilot that the engine is off.
Very good. Absolutely. And even though you're a distance away, you absolutely have to do that. So you're looking for the signs, the light, engine light flashing. He's just landed, so I'm guessing he's still got his engines on. So you would do that on approach. So can you confirm? Have you shut down your engines? No, I haven't. Or whatever. I've shut the left engine down, or right engine down. And you can ask. So we're going to make an approach. Can you shut down your engines, please? You can ask that. Absolutely. You can.
And we can also get the pilot on which side is possible to do the evacuation.
Say that again.
We can also get the pilot and from the pilot which side is possible for him to do the evacuation.
Yeah, you can. You can recommend it. Absolutely. All right. Now, in terms of positioning, we're going to talk about that. What should be the ideal positioning as well? Because depending on what's going on, really you shouldn't position straight forward.
45.
Yeah, it's 45. And we'll show you why in a video in a moment. So this is what's happened here. We got a Incidents involving wheels can be categorised as follows: overheated brakes with no flames visible, or brakes and tyres involved in fire. Smoke issuing from an aircraft undercarriage does not necessarily indicate that a fire exists. The new brake pads on an aircraft, if it's just been changed over, they smoke. They often smoke before they kind of bed in. And if you're watching them very carefully, if you see one, you're watching, it can be some wisps. You wouldn't see it from the fire station, but there will be some wisps of smoke if you're up there with it. So that doesn't necessarily mean fire. Brakes are designed to be exposed to very high temperatures. Oil on the brake lining or recently installed brake linings, as I said, can produce significant volumes of smoke when an aircraft breaks heavily. I would say that that is an excessive amount of smoke. That would constitute a turnout for you guys. For sure. And certainly that one. Fires in wheels are usually the result of overheating of brakes. In a worst case scenario, burst tyres causing intense friction, okay, with the runway surfaces, like what happened to me in that Thai Airways incident, or mechanical failure resulting in wheel locking. Brake fires, hydraulic line failure, wheel or tyre explosions are possible after high-speed braking. Absolutely. Wheel and brake assemblies can also overheat during extended taxiing, or where brake assemblies may be locked or have seized up. And we've talked about the heat transfer through. This is the one I went to, Melbourne Airport. And I've got a nice big piece of tyre as a souvenir of this incident. This was a big aircraft, it really was. And the fire from the hydraulic lines failed. I told you some of us got hydraulic oil in the eyes, had to go to hospital later just to get checked out. It burned, really burns. But it's okay, it hasn't affected me. I've got 20/20 vision now, so. Okay, there's another one there. Thin air, Australia. Another one in Brisbane in Australia. That's where the hydraulic line should have been. And you can see here, and all this here, it's all oil, hydraulic oil around here. Right in amongst the brake pads and brake linings and all that here. Thank God that didn't actually cause a fire. Or this incident. So imagine, just imagine, look at this, look at the damage under here. Just imagine, you were the firefighter holding the hose, right? And all of a sudden this thing comes down. I think you'd be a little bit shorter than what you are now. Just a little bit. And look what I said before. So this presents another challenge. These exits now it's not usable. Passengers get injured on exits just in a normal situation. And I'm talking broken ankles, scar knees, and injuries falling over, and all those sorts of things, let alone this sort of situation. So this is a challenge for you too, because you might actually, because passengers on there are going to be panicked, yeah? So you might actually have to stop passengers from going out there. Allocate a firefighter or two to actually, stop passengers. Or if they're going to come out, maybe catch them. All right. That's a pretty significant issue. Look at the engines just laying there on the ground. Undercarriages can collapse as a result of a heavy landing, aborted takeoff, spot cooling or thermal shock due to applying the wrong agent. In that case, the one in Los Angeles that you saw with the nose wheel twisted, I'm guessing if they put water on that, that whole assembly would just crack, explode, and then the aircraft would just go like this. Structural failure of the assembly, mechanical defect, for instance, not locking into position properly. The effects of fire, which weakens the metal, which eventually causes a collapse. loss of undercarriage controls, and failure of undercarriage assembly. Man, that was good yesterday to go right up in that undercarriage well in that A350. That's a massive area, isn't it? And those wheels kind of go roll right up in there. People often try to stow away in those sorts of areas, and they don't normally. It's not normally successful either. Another tyre failure there. Tyres can burst as a result of a heavy landing, water takeoff, foreign object debris. This is where it's really important, like Tower asked yesterday, to clean the mud off the runway. Really important, of course, that we don't leave bottles and things like this down on the drill ground. It's going to blow across. It can cause this sort of a thing, because these aircraft are doing upwards of 160 through to about 240 kilometres an hour down that runway, and the larger ones. And hitting something at that sort of speed, tyre failure and heavy braking can cause this as well. This is in North Korea. I got this photograph when I was in China, and I was actually invited to go across to North Korea, which I did before COVID and all the rest of it. And because the people that employ me, or used to employ me in China, they've got connections in North Korea, etc. Imagine now trying to get in there it is. Never come back. But this guy's trying to beat the fire out with his jacket. That's their method of firefighting over there. And of course, undercarriage hazards. You should not be anywhere near an aircraft with undercarriage problems, or the truck for that matter. Positioning. Where we have a risk, and this is where you really need to know what's happening, guys. If there's wispy white smoke, it's probably heat smoke from the brake pads, maybe a little bit of hydraulic oil involved as well. You don't get that billowing black smoke, which would mean that we've got heavy carbonised fuels involved. Such things as tyres, for instance. The rubber tyres down here, they give off that real thick smoke. And that would be a telltale sign that the fire is potentially involving a tyre, the fire is involving tyre. Or even the rim. So, tyres, when they're on fire, they tend to blow out forward. Tend to. Most of the time. Rims, when they blow, thermal fuses, thermal plugs, exactly. They tend to blow out this way. Okay? So really, we want to avoid those zones. And not just you, not just the trucks, but also when passengers are coming off the aircraft, if that's going to be the case, we need to make sure that our passenger clearance areas are well away from these danger zones. As you'll see in a moment with this video, these pieces of tyre can be projected a very long way, So we need to come in at this 45-degree angle here. Roughly on the 45 is okay. Not just come in, but position ourselves in these areas. That's going to be it's not safe, it's 100% safe, guys. It's more safe than these other areas. But we need to know what's going on. So we just it doesn't matter what type of, whether it's wheels or tyres or brakes that are affected, we always just apply this 45-degree rule. The fusible plug that you saw yesterday, the thermal plug, is normally designed to blow at a certain temperature and a certain pressure. My understanding, a lot of aircraft, or most aircraft, about 177 degrees Celsius. And when this thing blows out, the alloy inside it has a low melting point. It will melt, and the plug will release, which releases pressure to stop that wheel from completely disintegrating. How do you know what temperature, or how do you know that, whether you've got a potential issue with hot brakes? Well, this device here, which is called a thermal imaging camera, is absolute gold. It really is. They are really, really good for this application, but also for determining any hot spots in roofs, finding hidden pockets of fire, finding issues with inside aircraft through, like straight through the fuselage, looking at maybe a cargo hold fire. So you can stand from the outside and the fire is in the back part. I can see where the temperature, it will actually give you a temperature. So they're very, very good, very useful. I can also see from a distance with this thing whether the temperature is going up or coming down, and I can then relay that information or plan. If it's going up, I plan my incident in a different way. Maybe I'll do something different. So these are really, really, really good. Now, I don't know whether you guys have one of these. You don't? Or you do? No? In Nausori? No? They're pretty expensive. When I say expensive, they're Australian dollars, I guess, from about 10,000 Australian dollars. Sorry? I missed that again. Airlines? No, just firefighting, yeah. Airlines wouldn't have
We
this.
have one there, new one. Came in that truck.
Oh, you had one?
Yeah.
On the new truck?
You need to touch it. No, it's in chief's office.
Okay, so you do have one.
Yes, we have it.
Can you go and get it? Can somebody go and get it?
We also had one mounted on the truck, but it's not working anymore.
The fleur, like on the front of the truck, not the handheld one.
Yeah, it's on the roof.
You don't have the handheld.
The handheld one, it's in the house.
It hasn't yet been installed. It hasn't yet been put on the truck. Is that right?
No, there's two.
Okay.
The
you've got
handheld.
two. Right. Okay.
It's never been used and no one knows it's.
Right. Yeah, and they're expensive. Is it Dragon or NSA or something?
No one. We didn't even know it was here. Good question.
We can have a look at this after lunch. I think after lunch.
It does connect.
Would you guys tell me what you want, and would you like to come back here? Just stay here, and then because I want to do another drill this afternoon, right? So
Just stay here.
it seems to me a waste to go back to all the way back to the training room.
It's not,
Do what we're
Wednesday.
doing. This is okay, yeah. This works. So that's better. It's going to save us a bit of time. I haven't finished this presentation. I want to show you a video. Let me show you a video. Positive pressure ventilation fans. Do you have a positive pressure ventilation
Yes, we have.
fan? You do. Okay. Nausori? Only here.
This is one of the requirements that was shown, I think
Yeah. You know, ICAO, which Civil Aviation Authority of Fiji is a signatory, has a list of specific equipment that you must have. And on that list, I mentioned to the boys the other day that they had, this is a nice one, that they have hose, 50 mil hose. It's a requirement, they don't have 50 mil hose. I'll put it all in the report, don't worry. Oh, I don't even want to touch this. How long have you had this?
It came with the truck.
The truck 2 years ago or something? Why is it not on the truck?
That's a good question.
We'll do an exercise with this. It's even got the sticker. We'll do an exercise with this. We'll use it. We'll teach you guys. We'll teach you guys how to use it. The batteries. Anyway, please don't drop it. This is about, I think, about Fijian dollars, maybe 20,000 Fijian dollars, 15,000 somewhere around there, 15 to 20,000. Yeah. Can we charge? Yeah, make sure it's charged. This is a very good thermal imaging camera. You guys go for the best stuff. Oh look, the sticker here says, it says, if you